Welcome to the deep dive, where we take these really complex bureaucratic systems, the ones that usually just cause information paralysis, and we try to extract the knowledge you actually need.
And today we are deep diving into the labyrinth that is Medicare special election periods, SEPs.
It truly is a maze. I mean, if you feel like the rules are constantly changing, especially with deadlines and eligibility, you're not wrong.
Not at all. The annual enrollment period in the fall is, pretty straightforward. But life doesn't really respect the calendar.
And that's exactly why we're here. We've pulled from internal training materials, the deep guides that people use every single day to navigate this.
Our mission is to filter out all that noise and just give you the critical, often overlooked details.
The common mistakes, the red flags.
Yeah, so you can understand the exact triggers and the limitations that allow for coverage changes outside that normal window. We want to give you that insider knowledge.
Because in the world of Medicare, timing isn't just important.
It's everything. It's literally everything. Recognizing an SEP opportunity for a client can save them thousands of dollars and, get them the right pair immediately.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, the start line. The moment someone first becomes eligible and enters their initial enrollment period, or IEP.
Right. And a key rule here is all about when coverage actually starts. If you enroll before your Medicare Parts A and B start date, your plan starts on the exact same day as your Medicare. It's seamless.
But if you wait...
That's the costly mistake. If you wait and you enroll during or after your A and B have already started, that plan doesn't begin until the first of the following month.
Wow, so a whole month's delay.
A whole month. And that delay can mean a huge out-of-pocket difference if you suddenly need, expensive meds or services.
Okay, so what's fascinating here is how the system handles prior disability. Someone who had Medicare because of disability, and then they turn 65. What happens then?
They get a do-over. They receive a second 7-month IEP, basically a full reset, centered right around their 65th birthday. It's a huge opportunity.
But the jargon gets confusing.
Oh, absolutely. Here's where it gets tricky. The enrollment platforms, the actual software, often label this crucial second IEP as MRD.
MRD.
Medicare reinstatement due to disability. And they'll use that code even if the person is just signing up for a standard Medicare Advantage plan.
So even though CMS, the government, calls it a second IEP or SEP EIEP, the system itself defaults to that MRD code.
Exactly. You just need to know that the MRD code is really a catch-all for anyone turning 65 who was previously on disability Medicare. Knowing the code unlocks the correct path in the system.
Got it. Okay, let's move to another initial enrollment window. The initial coverage election period, or ICP. What's the major constraint people overlook here?
The big one is that ICAP does not allow for a standalone prescription drug plan, a PDP-only enrollment. It's strictly for Medicare Advantage plans.
And I remember the source material had a little mnemonic for this, right?
It did, yeah. The training materials use ICP, I can't eat pills.
Huh.
It's a quick way to remember that if someone has Parts A and B starting in the same month, and they only want drug coverage, ICEP is the wrong tool.
And if they try to use it?
The application gets rejected, and they might miss their window entirely.
Okay, so let's connect all this. Let's connect the IEP to the initial MA open enrollment period, or OEP new. This seems to be where a lot of people get tripped up.
This is a major, major red flag area. People assume OEP is only January through March.
Right.
But OEP new is not restricted to the calendar. It is tied directly to the client's effective date of their Medicare Advantage plan, and it only lasts for the first 3 months of that plan.
And the consequence for missing this window is severe. Walk us through that red flag example.
Okay, so if a client waits, let's say, until the 7th and final month of their IEP window to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan.
They're procrastinating.
Right. That plan won't start until the 8th month. By then, that critical 3-month OEP new window has slammed shut. It's gone.
So they lose that first chance to switch plans if their choice doesn't work out.
Exactly. They're stuck in a potentially ill-fitting plan until the next annual enrollment period in the fall. It's a pure consequence of waiting too long.
So the takeaway is that timing is not about the calendar year, it's about your own personal effective date.
Precisely.
Okay, now what about people who are already in the system? Let's move to the rules for current Medicare Advantage users. Specifically, the regular MA OEP January 1st through March 31st.
The eligibility here is razor sharp.
Yeah.
Only clients who are already enrolled in an MA or MAPD plan as of January 1st qualify. If you have original Medicare, you can't use it.
And it's a single bite at the apple, right?
Right.
One change allowed. And just like ICP, you can't use it for PDP-only changes.
That's correct. But there's a little technical loophole, the kind of use.
Oh.
If you're talking to a client in, say, March, and they already made the change that month, but the new plan hasn't started yet, it's set for April 1st, you can actually use the MAOEP again in March to update that pending choice.
So you can fix a mistake before it even happens.
You get a chance to fix an immediate mistake, yes, before the new plan even starts.
That's a huge pro tip. So if the regular OEP runs out, what about quality-driven exceptions? Let's turn to the 5-star special election period, the 5ST SEP.
First rule to just engrave in your mind is that this is strictly a once-per-calendar-year option.
Why is this one such a classic trap? I mean, if I see a client is already in a great 5-star plan, why shouldn't I just assume they've already used that election?
Because eligibility is tied to the opportunity to enroll in a 5-star plan, not the rating of their current plan.
Ah, okay.
That client may have picked that exact plan during AEP, or they might have used a totally different SEP to get into it. You have to verify their enrollment source, how they got into the plan, to make sure that 5ST SEP hasn't been triggered. Never, ever assume.
That makes perfect sense. The system doesn't care about their satisfaction. It just cares about the paper trail.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to situations triggered by life events, starting with health. Chronic condition special needs plans, CSNPs.
Right, and this is where listening skills become so important, because the enrollment rules are strict. The client's diagnosing doctor has to complete a verification of chronic condition form, a VCC.
And that timeline is aggressive.
Very. If the carrier contacts the doctor and the doctor doesn't respond within 30 days, the client then has a total of 60 days to get that form themselves and return it.
And if they don't?
If that form isn't submitted in that 60-day window, enrollment is automatically denied, which can be devastating if that CSNP had, specialized benefits they really needed.
So what kind of language should we be listening for from clients? They probably don't use official medical terms.
No, almost never. You have to listen for symptoms, not terminology. They won't say, I have congestive heart failure. They'll say things like, my legs swell up by the end of the day, or I get so tired after climbing the stairs.
Or heart flutters, that kind of thing.
Heart flutters, or the doctor keeps checking my high sugars. And just reviewing their medication list, seeing insulin or heart meds, is a very strong, very fast indicator that a CSNP might be an option, which triggers in SEP.
Okay, shifting to financial triggers. Low income subsidy, or LIS, often called extra help. The SET is triggered by a change in their LIS level. Why is this one missed so often?
It's missed because people tend to focus only on full dual eligibility, having both Medicare and Medicaid. But even a small reduction in the LIS level, say a client goes from $0 copays to small copays, that triggers in SEP.
So the clue is?
The clues are letters about their assistance being reduced or just asking a simple question. Have your medication copays changed recently?
And then there's the alphabet soup of state assistance programs, state pharmaceutical assistance programs, or SPACs.
Yes, like New York's APIC or Pennsylvania's PAYS.
Right.
But we have to clarify a difference here. The SEP is triggered by enrolling in or losing eligibility for those state-specific SPAPs. You have to be careful not to confuse them with the federal PACE program.
What's the federal one?
Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. If you see the word PACE in their eligibility data in the MARCS system as their current plan name, that is the federal program, and it is not eligible for this SEC.
That's a fantastic clarification. Okay, let's quickly touch on the disaster SEP, or DST. When does this come into play?
This one only applies if the client missed a valid election period like AEP or another SEP that was open during a declared FEMA incident. It is strictly a safety net.
And what's the operational detail here?
The critical detail is that this SE requires manager or compliance approval before you can submit the application. You can't just assume eligibility because they lived in the declared area.
Okay, let's transition to the big, unavoidable life changes. Loss of coverage, moving, institutional stays. We'll start with the SEP for end of coverage, or EOC.
EOC applies specifically when a Medicare Advantage or Part D plan ends because of a carrier or CMS action. So it's an involuntary loss of plan, a contract non-renewal, a plan termination, that kind of thing.
And what's the timing and the major mistake with EOC?
The timing is fixed. The ESC opens December 8th and closes at the end of February. And the major mistake is trying to use it if the client is just unhappy or if their plan is continuing under what's called a crosswalk or consolidation.
Okay, and just to clarify that jargon for everyone listening, crosswalk or consolidation, what does that mean?
It just means the insurance carrier kept the plan, but maybe they changed the name or the plan ID number. Since the client wasn't really forced out of a service, it's not considered an involuntary loss, so the EOC SP doesn't apply.
Got it.
And a huge time saver. You don't need proof letters for this. The enrollment platforms validate EOC eligibility automatically.
Next up, SP for loss of employer coverage, or LEC. This one has a tricky single-use closing timeline.
It is tricky. It starts while the client is still covered by their employer plan, and it ends either 2 full months after that coverage ends or immediately after the SOP is used, whichever comes first.
So that single-use rule is crucial.
It is. If you use the SE to enroll today, it closes. It's done, even if you technically had 6 weeks left in that 2-month window.
Okay, here's a really interesting one. A trap regarding creditable coverage, specifically with the VA, Veterans Affairs. You call this the VA trap.
Yes, this needs careful attention. Simply having VA coverage does not qualify you for this SEP.
Okay.
The client has to satisfy 2 conditions. First, they must be currently enrolled in a Medicare Advantage drug plan or a Part D plan. And second, they must be disenrolling from that plan because they now rely on their other active creditable coverage, like the VA.
So if they have VA coverage, but they're still happy in their Part D plan, they can't use this SA just to switch their MA plan.
Exactly right. The SEP is for disenrollment due to relying on that other coverage, not just for possessing it. The act of leaving their current Medicare drug coverage is the trigger.
That distinction is so important. Now let's talk about institutional stays. Which facilities actually qualify to trigger an SEP?
It has to be a CMS-recognized institutional facility. So we're talking a skilled nursing facility, a rehabilitation hospital, a psychiatric hospital.
And what does not qualify?
A regular hospital stay or an ER visit, even if the stay was for a long time. You have to listen for clues like, I was in rehab for a few weeks doing physical therapy, or they had me in the nursing wing to recover.
And the timing on that one?
The SEP is used when the client is being discharged. It lasts for 2 months from their date of discharge.
Okay, our final SEPI, and one of the most common moving, change of address.
The requirement is specific. A change in only the ZIP code or the county is required, not necessarily both. Just one or the other.
And here's the compliance detail that allows for immediate action, right?
Right. If the address that you see on file in the MARC system, that eligibility database, is incorrect, the client confirming with you today that it's wrong counts as the notification date of the move.
So that gives you an immediate trigger to use the SB.
It does. The only caveat is that the application address must eventually match what the Social Security Administration has on file, or the enrollment could be rejected later. So the client still has a little bit of work to do.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the whole picture here. We've just dissected dozens of these hyper-specific moments in time. Effective dates, notification dates, discharge dates.
That really is the common thread, isn't it? SEPs are all built on these very specific moments. And the value of this deep dive is learning to recognize the system's language when clients themselves are confused.
Right.
You know, we saw how hearing symptoms like high sugars can signal a CSNP is possible, or how a change in copays might signal a missed LIS SEP opportunity.
It's incredible that eligibility for something as crucial as health coverage hinges on the fine print of a facility type, a skilled nursing unit versus a regular hospital, or the precise timing of a 3-month window. So if eligibility for these fundamental privileges is governed by such specific but little-known timeframes, what unseen opportunities might exist in other complex bureaucratic systems, whether it's financial aid, licensing, legal compliance? What other systems are governed by similarly precise and obscure rules? That is the value of understanding the fine print, and something for you to consider as you navigate the complexities of modern life.